Welcome back to another episode of the Dare Show podcast, where I want to dare you to see things through a different point of view, my point of view. Okay, let's just get started so I have some great news that I found out. The podcast is now on Apple Podcast and other platforms. The thing that was holding me back wasn't Apple, unfortunately. It's Spotify. It was Spotify. I kind of read something, and the thing was, this is like a music-based podcast slash other stuff, but mostly music-based and music-based stuff. So when I edit or whatever, not even edit, when I put the thing together on Anchor is connected with Spotify, so I can put whatever Spotify music on usually, if you listen on Spotify, it's at the beginning or at the end of each podcast. Well, when you do that, the podcast is only on Spotify. So I had to take off, I'm going to have to go back and take off pretty much all the music. So now I guess what I have to do is just talk, because usually, the music that I put is whatever I'm listening to a lot that week, or whatever, artist I'm mainly talking about. So I guess I'll just have to, and I feel like I'm exposing, a little bit of myself in a good way to the listener, whoever's listening. And so I'm I'm kind of sad now I can't do that anymore for my podcast to be on every platform. It's so frustrating. So I guess what I'm gonna have to do now is talk about what song I'm listening to a lot, so you can go listen to it. And right now I'm having Thriving. I'm gonna try, I guess I'll have it playing in the background, but right now I have Thriving by Mary J. Blige and Nas, featuring Nas, playing a lot. Also her song called Work That from the Growing Pains album, I think it is, that I've been really enjoying too. I think there was a acapella version I listened to. But anyways, okay. Something else. Okay, so this week is slightly different because I was just let me try something up. Let me switch it up a little bit, and let me just talk about stuff as it comes out or as I consume it, so I can be a little bit more fresh, and so I don't sound like I have some kind of speech impediment. If you don't know, I think it was last week, somebody wrote a comment on my YouTube, which you can listen also on YouTube. And my Instagram is MYLOVEMYNEEDTONIGHT if you want to leave a comment or follow. But leave a comment. I want to leave a comment. Tell me what you think about the podcast. Not just in general, but the topics and stuff. I feel like I'm saying that weird. What was I saying? Oh, somebody left a comment saying someone give a speech. I'm sorry if I'm being too harsh about my comment. If you have a speech impediment or a learning disability or something ridiculous. But anyways, so yeah, that's what happened. So a couple of the topics I talked about, if they sound different, it's because they are different. Excuse the background noise if there is any. I just tried to give a little bit more of a fresh appeal, and so I think I might try that a little bit more, so it's less work when I actually get into it. But back to this intro. Whoopi Goldberg. Did you guys know Whoopi Goldberg did drugs? I didn't know she did heavy drugs. I was just listening to the My Opinion podcast by Kay Sherrill. And, Kay Sherrill, she did a really good job of actually being a fan, a concerned fan, and then, of Whoopi's health, because Whoopi just revealed that she had she's been suffering from sciatica. and I think it's like some back pain that turns into like your sciatic nerve or something like that. And so now she's like using a walker. And we all know like Whoopi's health isn't, the best. Mostly like her weight. I've really only heard her talk about her weight and her weight gain. And I think like she lost like maybe like 5-6 years ago. She lost a lot of weight or a considerable amount of weight. And I think maybe now she's kind of maybe put that back on. But I've never heard her talk about drugs. But Keisha Rose said she had used drugs. She had abused drugs. She does weed. But I'm like, weed is weed. She also had like a major health scare where she almost, went away. Because she had like double pneumonia and then I'm forgetting the other word. Septic? Yeah, I think it's called septic. She became septic. And I was just like, ooh wee. And allegedly like a cancer scare. Like Whoopi, and she was gone for a while on The View. I remember that time because Joy was, I don't know, I feel like Joy is fun, unconventional, and sometimes it rubs people the wrong way. But it's a different, it's different when she moderates, and I kind of do enjoy it. But Keisha Rose, like Whoopi had like multiple abortions. She just hasn't been taking care of her body, and she's like, as a concerned fan, she really wants Whoopi to slow down, but she's like, we don't really know how much Whoopi has in the bank, and I truly believe, I think I've said this before, but I truly believe when Monique was on the show, Monique was like, she went on the show, she was like, Whoopi was kind of reprimanding her, and then Monique went to another like platform and talked about their conversation, and Whoopi, I guess backstage, Whoopi had told, Monique asked her how much she was getting paid at The View, and at the end of the day, Monique was like, you're the reason why I'm speaking out. This is when her Netflix lawsuit was going on, and she was calling out Netflix. And she's like, you're the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing about this, pay situation with Netflix, because you're not, pretty much you're not getting paid much here, or as pretty much as, possibly other hosts on shows. So that, Lord. So Whoopi, we don't know how much she's working. We don't know how much she has in the bank. True, but Whoopi has to slow down. Otherwise, it's not going to be pretty, as we already see. What's next? Britney. Some things I don't want to talk about because I know other people are talking about it, and you probably like are talked to death. But there was some things from like Britney's conservatorship situation that I didn't want to say. Britney, as we know, is in this conservatorship, and as today, I believe her lawyers filed to end the conservatorship or to get her, get her life back, because basically her life is not hers. Her life is on a puppet string. And I'm very, like, I didn't really know about this, but we all clearly knew something was wrong with Britney. But it seemed like it got worse. And I think it's because, they were, her life. And it's not because of like 2008 worst. Or was that 2008? 2007. Oh, maybe 2008. 2007, 2008 worst. But as time went on, we clearly see something's wrong. And I'm very happy for her that she's like, her initial spark for this thing to end was they were trying to put her on another tour. I think was a tour? No, it was a Vegas residency. And she had just been like working. And she's like, no, I'm not doing this. So she had like told everybody, I'm not doing this. I'll see you when I see you. And that was sort of the spark of her trying to get her life back. Now, Britney's been under this conservatorship since 2008. And that's, I think somebody said it was like 13 years, which is crazy because I'm like, 2008 was just yesterday. I was just, buying the Beyonce I Am Sasha Fierce and going to school CD. I don't know where 13 years have gone, but it sure hasn't gone with me in it. But anyways, so yeah, Britney's in this conservatorship. Britney's worth $600 million. The thing about the conservatorship is it's so crazy how it seemed like how fast it went. Now, her dad is the head of the conservatorship. Her dad also is like almost 70 and was hospitalized like a couple of years ago or like last year with like something serious going on with him. So I'm like, first of all, dude, you're old and you can't even take care of yourself anymore. And you're trying to be conservatorship over her, which we really think is really the money. Basically, it's the money because she's been basically working, not being able to purchase stuff, not being able to actually have money on her. She, in the conservatorship, she wanted to take out her IUD, which I believe is like a birth control. The conservatorship people and her father said no, or she had to have permission, but they end up, saying no. Like, you have to have permission? Like, Britney's almost 40. A little tangent about Wendy. I haven't really watched Wendy Williams in about 3 weeks now, and I'm just finding, let alone the hot topics, we're in the midst of a pandemic, and things aren't really popping like they were. And so it's just like, okay, you're not really talking about anything interesting. And then now your point of view is kind of, sometimes it's not necessary. I'm funny, her point of view is like, I'd rather Wendy talk about other stuff. Like I do love the Ask Wendy and the food segments. Oh my gosh. I love the food segments. But other than that, I'm not really interested in Wendy. The one thing that made me not want to watch her was when that Mariah and Jay-Z rumor went out, and she was like, "Yeah, I believe it. I believe she was talking to. I believe Jay-Z was like, listen, Mariah, this was like." No, I don't believe. First of all, I don't believe it. Second of all, it didn't happen because Mariah said it didn't happen. So I was just like, okay, I'm checked out. But one thing about Wendy and Britney is she's always like, Britney's a little tick boomy, and Britney needs to still be under people's care. And it's like, no, I don't think Britney clearly doesn't need to be under people's care, because Britney's out here making, as Anna from The View said, Anna Navarro said, Britney's out here making these casinos millions of dollars. Britney's out here working, doing millions of shows. Britney's out here doing still endorsements, or at the time she was still doing endorsements. She was still going on tour, making albums, selling records. Like, nobody is Britney was teaching the choreography to like new dancers for this audition. Like, she was teaching them the dance, the choreography. Like, nothing is wrong with Britney anymore besides being under this conservatorship, them pumping her with lithium and drugs and making her seem like out of it. And what was the other thing? Nothing's wrong with Britney. Britney's out here making money, and people are leeching off of Britney and her $6 million estate. That's what's really going on. And so I'm actually really proud that Britney said no more. And to the celebrities that are now saying something, like, y'all can get out of here. At this point, if you're not going to speak up when nothing's going on, don't speak up at all. Christina Aguilera was talking. Cher was talking about, yeah, I heard stuff when we were on the Strip, on the Vegas Strip. I heard stuff, but I never really seen stuff. Like, Cher, get the fuck out of here. Ain't nobody got time for you and your bullshit banter on what Britney's going through. If you weren't going to help her then, if you weren't going to try to figure out what was going on with her, don't say shit. Cher, I like Cher, but Cher is becoming a little weird. Yeah, Britney's making money for dancers, crew. You travel with a crew on tours. You travel. I mean, you have a crew when you're in Vegas. Crew people, the record label. But my thing is how quickly it was for Britney's father to get this conservatorship. Okay, she was, she had to be hospitalized mentally twice in like a month, I think it was. But then they immediately gave it to him. And I'm just like, okay, this had to have like, okay, something goes on here. Here's the plan. That's how I'm just like, wow. You to like take over her whole entire life. And then that's what she was saying in her statement. What was it called? Her statement to her hearing. She had a hearing and she had to make a statement. And so one of the things I noticed about Britney was, first of all, she let them have it. I think that's the correct terminology. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that because I really don't know what that means. Terrible. Okay, right? Okay, so Britney was calling them all kinds of dummies and stupid people and calling her father like an ignorant fool. I shouldn't say that specifically, but she was like calling them like dummies and shit. It was hilarious. And then Britney's way of speaking, she just seemed like a time warp, like a time capsule. Like she's 40 and Britney sounds like, some of the girls I went to high school with in California. It's just like, what is going on here? It was slightly entertaining. But for a lot of people that were like, some people were like, I felt so bad listening to her. Or Megan was so dramatic. Megan McCain on The View was so dramatic. It's like, my heart broke. I could barely finish listening. Like, girl, please shut the fuck up. It's so fucking dramatic. Britney's going through something and she's trying to get out of it. You should be happy about that. Now, I think there's like multiple conservatorships. I think there's multiple conservatorships. Like I said, it seems like maybe like a team of people that she has to go through. Oh, and she also has to like, she's like, I want to be free, but I don't want to have to go through this like evaluation where, multiple doctors pricking and prying at you and you're doing these like psychological evaluations and stuff. It's pretty crazy. Also, she talked about like this doctor that like that prescribed her medicine, or maybe he was like a psychological doctor, a psychologist, and he died. And she was like, I really got on my knees and I thanked the Lord. I was like, Britney, please stop talking. I couldn't deal with it. It was so crazy. It was so funny. But okay. Shout out to Britney. We stand Britney. I do love me some Britney music. We love one of my favorite songs is Radar. We love Piece of Me. We love Give Me More. Don't get me started. I'm more of a after meltdown Britney fan. Circus. Come on. Hits after bops. Work Bitch. I really didn't get into the Glory album, or was it Britney Jean? I think it was Glory. Because at that point, I felt like Britney's songs kind of all sounded the same. So I was just like, okay, whatever, Britney. But yeah, shout out to Britney. Get your life together. She was talking about even like the maids, and during the pandemic, even the maids, like last year, the maids would come in with their nails done, but Britney couldn't even get her nails done. I'd be like, you know what? Get the fuck out of here. Britney, you're worth $600 million and you're not going to try to break the fuck free. You better call somebody. But it's good for her. Shout out to her. Lady Antebellum. I'm still calling them that because they're being very antebellum. I can't with them. They did an interview with Wait, am I recording? Yeah, okay. They did an interview with, I think, Billboard, talking some shit. I couldn't even deal with them. Them heifers are so wrong. They were talking about, they brought, of course, Billboard brought up about this Lady A lawsuit, them taking the name. And here's what one of the people said in Lady Antebellum. I don't know who it was. It's all about trademark rights. So we're just going to letting our lawyers figure it all out, Kelly says. But it's been a very interesting process for sure. Eye-opening and tough. But I think we're stronger for it. You learn and you grow so much in tough times. Shut the fuck up, okay? Y'all are so fucking fake. Just COVID in general, this whole year has taught us that we're as close as ever we've ever been as a band. More purposeful and determined to really show the message of love and support for everybody. Get the fuck out of here. That's who we are, and anyone who's ever known us from the beginning. See, that's all that. I hate that phrase. If you know, people that know me or people that have known me from the beginning know that. I hate that fucking phrase because it's like, what does knowing you from the beginning have to do with you now? If we're saying you're fucked up now, you're fucked up right now. They get on my nerves. They're getting on my nerves. They need to get their lives together before it gets them together. Because ain't no good gonna come to you until you give that lady her name back. Whether it's gossip or about a relationship or issues, and more obliquely refers to sort of things that happened with the band went through last year. See, they're fucked up. And you know what? I kind of think they're going to get away with it. Taking this lady's name, they trademarked the name. The ladies had the name for over 30 years. And now it's a mess. It's a mess. But it also, I'm not reprimanding her, but also, we all have to, especially the black peoples, like I'm like white or something, especially us, we all have to, I guess I need to go trade my name while I'm at it, talking about it. We all need to dot our I's and cover our T's, or whatever the phrase is called. Cover our T's and dot our I's. Cross the T's and dot our I's, because at the end of the day, here comes a white man trying to take our shit. And Miss Lady Anita White, maybe you should have trademarked your name and you wouldn't have to go through this. But also, them saying, we're about love and equality. Like I said last week, or the week, whatever week that was, how are you about love and equality when you're taking this lady's name? How are you for Black Lives Matter when you're suing a black person? I can't deal with this. Because I was rooting for Lady Antebellum. I really love that Golden album. But now I need to go delete that from my playlist because this isn't happening anymore. They're not about to con me into thinking they're nice. Them fake asses. Get the fuck out of here, Lady Antebellum. All three of you. That's all I have for this right now. But I'm going to take a little break, and we're going to get into, oh my God, some Erika Jayne mess. So much more. So Erika Jayne. So this week on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, we finally got the episode about Erika, post Erika filing for divorce. And they actually really gave us a lot. I did not expect her to talk so much about it. I think I rarely look at the episode names, but this episode is called The Liberation of Erika Jayne. So they really gave it to us a lot. Okay, so first of all, I really, like I've said before, I do adore Erika Jayne. I do adore Erika Girardi, whatever her name is today. I really do adore her. I appreciate her her role in the group from the beginning and her status in the group. So I just think I'm coming from definitely a guilty until proven, wait, I'm sorry, innocent until proven guilty point of view, because I do enjoy her. And my thoughts kind of have changed more to her side being, first of all, my thing about Tom is like, my main thing about Tom in this thing is the Alzheimer's or dementia, mental brain health decline, allegedly. I think that is put on by them to save his ass. I don't think Erika's said anything about him having any kind of mental decline. And people are like, she's faking it and she's acting really good because, you know, she kind of had her steps in order for her divorce. And to be honest, I kind of think she really got a divorce and not trying to save her ass from this lawsuit or possibly being tied into the lawsuit, because I think, did I tell you guys last week? I don't think I did. I think I might have tweeted it. Like, Tom didn't come see her when she was on Broadway. And she was on Broadway in early 2020, I think late 2019, early 2020, like that whole transition. And he never came and saw her. So I definitely think they were having like marital issues. And she just put it on she didn't fully expose it, but you can definitely see that Tom, the things that she says about Tom basically being verbally abusive. At the end of the day, Tom is 80. He's old. He's stuck in his ways. Like, she talked about his house, the old Hollywood type house that they have. And she was the third wife to move into that house. That's what she said. Like, when one of the ladies asked her, like, "Oh, you don't feel a way about leaving your home?" She's like, "Well, that really wasn't my home. I was the third wife." Child, I was the third wife to move in there. And I don't know if Bravo made a mistake, but they said like 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms and 9 baths, and I'm like, Bravo, do what? But anyways, the home wasn't hers. The home is his. He's stuck in his ways. She's like, I can't really go to him and be like, you hurt my feelings. He'll like shut her down. He'll be verbally abusive. And then she brought up one instance where they were at dinner and what the hell was that? They were at dinner and she was late. She was in traffic, and I guess they were like attorney friends or whatever, and one of the friends of his said something like, "You're gonna you wouldn't be late if you were my wife," or something like that. And then Tom said, "Well, if you can afford her, you can have her, or you can afford her, so you can't have her," or something like that. So, you know, like belittling her. And that was another thing about the money thing about in the documentary. I read it literally after the last podcast, and I was like, oh, okay, this is The Housewife and the Hustler. That's what it's called. It's on Hulu. And that's the thing about the money thing. Like, she has a song called Expensive, and you know, some of her lyrics are like up in the air, like very chauvinistic or whatever. And I feel like they're kind of using that, well, they were using that against her in her music, in the documentary. And so I'm just like, why can't she express herself I'm sure Tom didn't completely, uh, wasn't completely like funding, her glam team and stuff like that. Like she, at a certain point, was making a living, and she was. Erika Jayne is very on the dance chart. She's very successful. I'll say that. She's very, very successful. She's over in like Mykonos and different countries doing like shows. So I'm like, Erika Jayne is very successful in her own right. But how did she get there is a little iffy sometimes, yes. But after she got there, I'm sure Tom definitely wasn't funding her career like that. And well, housewife money, book money, all these other opportunities she's had since the Housewives, I'm sure. And I think Expensive came out like a couple years after she did Housewives. So just saying. But I'm definitely seeing her point of view. You definitely kind of see her point of view. I don't really think she's acting. A lot of comments are like she's acting, and they're still bashing her still in the comments. Um, Her move to her house. Her house looks like I feel like she should be in a gated community and her house looks very small and very like easy to get to. Just from, I don't know if she's in a gated community. I hope she is, because she looks like she like lives down the street from me, to be honest. Um Somebody sent Erika a coffee table and a kitchen table, because damn, girl ain't got a kitchen table. I don't feel bad for her. I feel like hopefully if she does get off, she can rebuild her life. Honestly, Erika is like fine as shit, and she's definitely like a wife in my mind. Like I could wife Erika. Oh, that could be my little girl, my little baby. Yes, Erika. She's so cute. She's very cute. And she like, I love her personality. And I believe she's a Cancer. And growing up, my mom and my sister are both Cancer. They're like born a week apart. And there's a thing, like, I still deal with their Cancerness. Also, another close cousin of mine is a Cancer. So, like, I know Cancers and I deal with Cancers, and I'm kind of exhausted by Cancers. But, certain Cancers still like a Chloe or a Wendy Williams or a Erika Jayne, they kind of get me a little aroused. And I'm like, okay. And it's really personality wise, like, let alone like look wise. Personality wise, Erika, Chloe, and Wendy, I can definitely ride with. But anyways, I hope she, eventually moves if she wants, because that little place. I mean, I appreciate her getting us a home that is like, I'm a single woman, and I mean, it's nice to see her get a home that fits her lifestyle. Like, she doesn't have a bunch of kids. She doesn't have, family, probably like a big wad of family or anything like that. So, like, I think she got like a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom little cottage looking house. It was very appropriate. Does this mean the money's out? Because on Beverly Hills, like, the money is it. Not like these other series. Like, the money on Beverly Hills is not a thing that is important. Well, it's important, but it's not a thing like brought up all the time. I mean, it's brought up like in terms of what do you have, but it's not like new money. It's very much old type money-ish. And that's why, okay, side note, that's one thing that I finally realized, because I was on the fence about, what's her name? Kyle, bringing up that Garcelle Bouvet, the black woman, the new black cast on the show, which I'm loving Garcelle this season. Garcelle is looking delicious in every scene this season. But the thing about, I was like, I don't know if Kyle is bringing up Garcelle. Is it like a racial thing? Is it an actual thing? But I realized it had to be like a deeper undercut racial thing, because money isn't an option on, money isn't a big thing on Beverly Hills of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. That's one thing that's not. There's a whole lot of other shit going on, drugs, shit like that, scamming, shit like that. But money, that ain't a thing. So for her to bring that up is definitely side eye, completely Kyle. Like you knew what you were doing. But back to Erika. Okay, so I talked about her being, I think that was it. Like she just talked about him belittling her and calling her hun. So I think like they're dying. She kind of creates this story of, and not in a bad way, you guys. I'm not saying this in a bad way. Just like, her narrative is that they've kind of moved on. Either you're this hip, liberal, understanding 80-year-old, or you're, an 80-year-old. And he's definitely an 80-year-old. Not present, I guess. Not anymore. Not a husband. And I guess like sort of the person who maybe she fell in love with. But still, I'm trying to figure out, where did all that money go to? You took all these people's money. You definitely weren't renovating your house. And also the house thing, I feel like Erika didn't like the house. Because she was, like I said, she moved into the house. She was the third wife to move into the house. And it was like a couple of seasons ago, she brought the women over and she was like, or maybe it was like last season. She brought the women over and she was like, this is my house. This is a very old Hollywood house. I feel like she's trying to convince them that she liked the house. But I don't think she really liked that house, especially like during that time. I think like, maybe when they initially got married, she was like, oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful house. Oh my God, it's old Hollywood. I've always wanted to, come to Hollywood, blah, 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 and be successful, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm living in an old Hollywood mansion. But, as modern times go on, as times get modern, you're kind of like, okay, well, that tree, she was like walking around and he's like, oh, look at that tree. It's so beautiful. And she's like, honey, it's dead. And it's like, okay, after a while, an old Hollywood house needs to be a little renovated. The furniture definitely looked old Hollywood. I'm just saying, and sometimes maybe that's just my taste. Sometimes old antique looking things look old and antique. Or people's style is just old and antique, and it's just like, okay, whatever. I don't care if it's like $25,000 a couch. If the couch is $25,000, it still looks, old and antique. But anyways, like, yeah, I don't think she liked the house. Because she was talking about how she moved down. She left the Lamborghini, left the house, downsized, got like a Range Rover. Seriously, I was like, why is she telling us this? And then like, oh, okay, she's saying, she left everything, took a few couches, and is living on her own and hasn't talked to Tom since that day he called her hun. She said, I love you. And he said, oh, thanks, hun. Lord. So Tom is definitely going through it. But okay, so this is my last thing. Like I said, like Tom allegedly has like Alzheimer's or something, and he's under his brother's care, or his brother is the conservatorship or attorney, power of attorney over his life or whatever it's called. But I'm just like, okay, Tom is this big lawyer. Tom is very powerful in this divorce. Have they gotten the divorce yet? And how is this mental capacity, his mental capacity, playing a role in, quote unquote, playing a role in this divorce? Because I don't think they're divorced yet. I'm confused. But I'm sure we're going to hear more about as the like lawsuits come to play, where we are in current time. I'm sure they're going to talk about that on the show. I think they do talk about that. I think it would probably be in like a couple of like 4 or 5 episodes from now. But okay, Erika, I'm still on your side, Erika. But I do have some questions. On that note, that's all for Erika, Miss Girardi. Y'all, we gotta pray for Jessie J. Oh my gosh, Jessie J is going through it. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about her new song, I Want Love. And I kind of like it. But now she's telling us that she's going through vocal issues. Now, the vocal issues happened, I think, like after she recorded, I guess, a bunch of songs, and one of them including I Want Love. But she's telling us that because she had like acid reflux and nodules, which are like little polyps, I believe, that like develop on your throat. Like, I guess if I'm not gonna say, I don't know, I guess it's a combination. Sometimes if you don't take care of your voice, / they just happen as you get older or whatever. So she had nodules on her voice and a combination of acid reflux, and I'm just like, what does that mean? Like, I'm kind of confused. I've never heard of that. I never heard of acid reflux like affecting your voice, which is pretty interesting. But anyways, that's what's happening with her voice. But also, she had to have steroids or take some kind of steroid treatment because she had, I don't know the name of, I don't think I'm pronouncing Merle's disease or something. And it was like this disease where it happens at any age. You like get ringing in your ears and you like get like fainting or something like that. So that also, the steroid treatment had like an effect on her nodules. Oh, I think the steroids might have created nodules. And then she had the acid reflux. And she's like, I'm going through a bunch of tests. Just, y'all, we got to pray for Jessie J. She definitely she came out swinging when she did come out. And like, I think it was like 2010, 2011, Domino, and what other songs does she have? Like, they're not my favorite songs. I'm aware of Jessie J. I'm aware of her talent. But like I said a couple of weeks ago, her Rose, I think it was called the Rose Challenge or the Rose Album. And it was like 3 different sections. 3 different like it's not sections, but like 3 different bodies of work. That's what it's called. She had like 3 different bodies of work, and it was really incredible. And like I said, she like won this like Asia Voice, American Idol type thing a couple of years ago, and she really put in the work on that. But anyways, y'all, pray for Jessie J. It's really unfortunate, she's going through all this health issues. And she like sent she posted a little clip of her singing. Not her vocal coach. It was like her speech coach, I think she called him. Wanted to see her singing something softly, and that video, oh gosh. She could barely sing. But I think she's gonna be better. I think she said she just needed some rest. That's what it is. The voice is such an amazing instrument. The body itself is such an amazing instrument because you can definitely sing. You can definitely heal. Your voice will definitely heal itself. Your voice will definitely build itself back up. Incredible. Also, Taylor Swift and the Scooter Bronson thing. Scooter is Justin Bieber and I think Ariana Grande's manager. And I believe, if I'm correct, he somehow, at the end of the day, he had the power via being a record label. He had the power to buy Taylor Swift's, or not just specifically Taylor Swift, but like Taylor Swift was a part of his label, and he bought the label and Taylor Swift's masters. Now, if you don't know about masters, if you own your masters, you're in good shape because you can approve of it being. But also, I feel like songwriting, if you wrote the song, you should be able to, which I know she written. I'm confused. Maybe I have to look that up because I'm like, you definitely have to get the songwriter's approval to like use the song in a like commercial or sampling or whatever. But also, I know masters is kind of the same way. So I'll have to look that up because, oh my God, this little Asian girl is getting in this giant ass BMW truck. Oh my gosh, can she fit in there? Girl, that's for me. Anyways, if you own your masters, you're good. You're set for life. Now, Scooter was like, I'm trying to figure out who I believe in this because Scooter was saying the masters that he was saying like it was some miscommunication with Taylor and his team and her team. Well, no, he said her team. He didn't say his team. He was saying there's miscommunication. There is a lot that happened that didn't happen. It was like false information that was going on. And I'm like, do I believe that? Or do I believe Taylor, who was saying, you know, they did it sort of behind her back. There was no conversation. But then again, I kind of do believe Scooter knew what he was fucking doing. Of course. You don't just take buy somebody's masters and sort of not have a conversation with them. But then also at the end of the day, Taylor, why don't you have your masters? You've had so much success, still continued success, still winning Grammys. Your album is going #1. It's like a different like type of genre you were dealing with. Your album still went #1. You're still selling. You're still very popular, very famous, very relevant. Even through the crazy and the stalker man that's been stalking you for years, got out of jail. He's still stalking you, busting in your house, trying to stalk you, busting through the foyer of your apartment building and still stalking you through the mean girl persona that has created over the years by from other people by you. You're still popping, girl. Why don't you have your masters? That's really the $1 million question. The $300 million. The $300 million question. Because that's how much he bought it for. He bought her masters for $300 million. And he was saying, we can still talk. I've been trying to talk to her. I've been trying to talk to her team. Let's talk. Let's sit down. We've only had a couple of interactions throughout the years. But he's saying you can still buy them back. Well, I don't know if he was saying that now. Is he saying that now? I don't think he's saying that now. I think he was saying that like previously. Like, you can still buy them back. But then there was like this NDA that... Who put the NDA out? Was it... She might have put the NDA out. But I'm confused of why was there an NDA when there wasn't a transaction in between each other? I can see if there was like a cease and desist, but there wasn't a transaction between them two. So I'm not sure why an NDA was put out. So it was like he could talk about it, and the reason why this came up because Scooter, for whatever reason, like he's a fucking manager. Like, we don't see Matthew Knowles, or we do see him talking, but okay. Anyways, but the reason why is because Scooter did like this like interview with this magazine, and Billboard picked it up, and so they were just talking about, you know, what was going on with Taylor Swift, the masters. She kind of played the victim, definitely. But in the end, he was just like, there was miscommunication. There was tons of false things going on. I'm just like, okay. But I kind of believe him, but then I kind of don't. Not that I completely believe her, because she definitely plays the victim. She definitely had this mean girl thing going on. So I'm just like, okay, I don't know who I believe completely. Because Scooter, you knew what you were doing. You don't just take buy a popular artist masters and not know what you're doing. And then in the end, the thing is, Taylor, I think she already re-recorded one album. But I'm like, girl, you got all this time on your hands. You're going to re-record another album just so you can own it? I guess. That's a lot of work. I don't see it as a lot of common sense. Not common sense. I don't see it as a smart move to re-record your entire album. Because when you do that, you gotta have the sales again. Or maybe, because you don't erase the original recordings. Because Mariah even went through that, or she's going through, or she did that already with All I Want for Christmas Is You. For some reason, I don't think she owns that particular master. We know she owns the Glitter Masters because she owned that. I mean, she bought it and then a couple of years ago put it on streaming sites and stuff. Possibly even out for sale. I'm not even sure if it was out for sale, digitally. But anyways, Mariah did that with All I Want for Christmas Is You, and then she re-recorded All I Want for Christmas Is You, put that on a new album, and now uses that and kind of tweaked the version and made it a new version, and uses that for promotion or whatever. But I think the All I Want for Christmas Is You that went number one is the original. So I don't know. The master thing actually, for once, kind of confused me. But anyways, Taylor is in the process of re-recording another album. So, whatever, Taylor. This is really rich people problems. So, that's all on Taylor, and that's all on Mrs. Jessie J. Is there anything else I want to say about Taylor? Besides, I'm not a huge fan of her music. I do like one song. Although, Shake It Off, it was everywhere. There was another song that was everywhere. I mean, she bangs out the hits. She'll steal your concepts and call it a day. Do what you gotta do, girl, I guess. All right. I'm going to end it right here. But before I end it on this 28th episode of the Dare Show podcast, I want to say that Patti LaBelle she's in this new commercial, and it's for Old Spice. Excuse me. Old Spice has had this black series with that one comedian dude. I forget his name. He was on Blackish. But it's a really good, funny commercial. Patty's in it. She's at the edge. She rolls up on him. The way she rolls up on him, really gangster. Did I tell you she was making a commercial? I think I said that she was making a commercial, and she looked really good in it. She also had this Walmart collaboration thing. I don't know what that was, but she looked good in it too. And she was talking, and I think she promoted the wine. Yeah. She made a little video for her promotion of the wine and book club thingy that she's doing. Wait, I'm trying to see what date it is. July 13th, which is in a couple weeks. The BET Awards. They need to do better at promoting it. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And they really need to get Monique back as a host. I feel like Monique was the best host. Last year's award show was really good. Megan, I saw a couple a couple of performances. Megan's thought shit performance was really great. Great choreography, great costume, great look. Except for me, the song is a little bit, or she performed like the whole song. And because I'm not into rap like that, if it doesn't have, I'm really not into rap like that. It was like, okay, girl, this song is about 2 minutes too long, but I think she did a really great job. She looked really great. Met Queen Latifah. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Queen Latifah. Shout out to Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah is such a gem to our community. And from going from like hip hop to music, other music, or sometimes in the good movies, TV shows, her own talk show, whether it fails or not. She's really done a great job. She still looks amazing. I believe she's a mother now. I don't know if she's married or not, but shout out to Queen Latifah and her Happy Pride little shout out to Pride at the end of her speech. She got the Lifetime Achievement Award. It's always interesting who they're going to give it to these days. Because it's like, okay, y'all gave it to everybody, and half of them are gone. But still, well, maybe not half. I think a couple of them are no longer with us. But still, shout out to Queen Latifah. We adore you. She still looks amazing. And I understand, being a part of the LGBT community is like, it's a pride. It has to, how do I say it? I guess because of certain things, it has to, some people want to stay private about it. But, it's like, Queen Latifah, we love you. We adore you. We know. Just show us your wife and show us your happy little family. Or not. Okay, it's none of our business. Okay, it's none of our business. Okay. I don't know if my job is because of Pride Month, but they've been playing like some really poppin' music. They've been playing I'm Coming Out. I heard If by Janet Jackson the other day. I heard Deeper Love last night by Aretha. I'm just like, okay, I don't know if this is Pride Month or not related, but y'all need to keep this playlist because it's a bop. It's popping. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say on this 20th episode of the Dare Show podcast. Thank you so much for listening. You can follow me on Instagram at MYLOVEMYNEEDTONIGHT. Leave a comment on the YouTube page, the Dare Show podcast. And yeah, I'm going to end it there. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back next week. Let's see what else is in store for us to talk about.